Okay, well, Mayor Bates will be the first one to answer the next question, right? Which is?
Well, that's interesting. Okay, I was at the July City Council meeting where a vote allegedly was taken to put Measure S on the ballot. That meeting sort of devolved into, I don't know, something not like an ordinary meeting. The ACLU did a study about that meeting and wrote a letter to the City Council. First of all, if you want to read the letter, which describes in great detail what actually happened at the City Council meeting, you can find it on Max Anderson's webpage, which is reelectmaxanderson.org. And my question is, the ACLU concluded that the city violated the Brown Act and its own rules in the process of that meeting, and I'd like to know what each candidate's response is to that accusation.
Well, it's not true. It's true they wrote the letter, but it's not true that we violated the Brown Act. They said that we may have violated the Brown Act. What happened was, of course, there was chaos at the meeting. There was singing and yelling, and we had to adjourn into the back room. There was alleged that we talked about doing something, a strategy in the back room. That was never happened. And anybody who says it does, there's no evidence, there's no anything to prove that occurred. And it did not occur. I can tell you straightforwardly. So then we go back and we vote. We voted, and we voted to put it on the ballot because we couldn't conduct business. It was impossible to conduct business at that point in time. So that's what happened.
I was at that meeting. It was beautiful. It was beautiful in the way that happened. We have two differences of opinions. The Brown Act was definitely violated. My administration wouldn't put up to it. The violation of the Brown Act has been going on since Mayor Bates has taken office. With the lottery system, we fought with that, and the, I forget, there's a group on Northside who basically has been battling the lottery system at the beginning of the City Council meeting. Oakland allows everybody to speak on everything all the time. It's not a lottery system, so it's violated every week. Hope.
Obviously, the current mayor is not in touch with the reality of the citizens of the city. The Brown Act was violated, and not only that, the people of the city were violated because their voices were not heard. It's time for us to come up. It's time for us to come up with solutions, and arresting homeless people is not one of them. Thank you very much.
We need more transparency in this community, and it wasn't just this one issue. That's why you really should support and vote for Measure U, the Sunshine Initiative. We really need sunshine. We don't need what Mayor Bates will cause a sunburn because he is so opposed to the Sunshine Initiative. We need transparency. I go to every council meeting. I happened to not be at that council meeting. It was the week of my daughter's wedding, so I was in the East Coast, but I watched it. And I mean, I'm not going to be one to argue with the ACLU on this by any stretch of the imagination, but here's another perfect issue of a circus that was created from a decision that came from special interests that did not come from the community. We do have a behavior issue in downtown. We need the resources to enforce those ordinances that are currently on our books, and we need the resources to be able to connect the dots of our homeless service providers so we can create solutions for what is plaguing us there. No, you're next, and then it goes back.
Yep. S is really an issue that I'm on the fence on. It's really hard because Berkeley used to be a vibrant city, and I want to, downtown, people used to go shopping there. And there are people, especially older people, that are afraid to go downtown and shop there. And on the other hand, we have our youth to worry about. I've talked to most of the people sitting on the sidewalks are teenagers to their early 20s, and there's still a chance to save them, entwine them in the community. And so what I did is there's actually some groups that were there on Shattuck on Sunday, and there's some young kids that are really great. They work with the homeless kids in San Francisco, and I listened to them. What do they suggest? How can they solve it? Or how do they try to address the issues? And they brought up some really good ideas. And I think what the best thing to do is do the carrot and stick problem. is give them some time to actually see if they can implement a change and work with them and seeing if we can really build a strength that way. And if that doesn't work, we have to look at other options.
Thank you. To say that it was impossible to conduct business is displaying a profound misunderstanding of Berkeley. It was very simply possible to conduct this business very fairly, reasonably. First of all, don't put a obviously hotly controversial issue next to last on the agenda. Second of all, don't make 125 people in the audience wait until 10:30 at night until they get to say one single word about the most controversial item on the agenda. And third of all, this is Berkeley. It's not a shocking surprise whether you're the most conservative person or the most liberal person in Berkeley. It should not be a surprise that there are people in Berkeley who might protest. And so we have practical ways to address protest. So you simply do that and you don't violate the Brown Act. Thank you.
Okay, Zachary will be the next one to answer the first question, the next question, which is?
I'd like to know what each of you would do to make the city more fiscally responsible, like specific things, like 3 specific things. Thank you.
Fiscally responsible, I mean, well, we have an unemployment problem, and this goes to Measure S, and this is closing down Telegraph has always, we do it during the craft fair. So there's always an economic boom there. The university is the one that is pulling the strings and saying, no, we don't want to close down because we don't want to get a vibrant, diverse culture back into Berkeley, which I grew up with. So shutting down Telegraph from Dwight Wade to Bancroft with temporary barriers so that the trucks can service the businesses there, bringing the businesses out onto the sidewalk, making that a pedestrian only. We have the Champs-Élysées has a shutdown part of the street. So that's the fiscal part of, raising money in the city of Berkeley. And so that would be one, and also supporting the Sunshine Act and making our open government whole.
There are many ways that our city needs to step it up in terms of being fiscally accountable and responsible. One is definitely the Sunshine Act. The other one is to make sure that we're not overpaying people like the city manager. There's no reason why we are paying people at such high salaries. And then the other thing I think is really important is that we bring the issues of our city in terms of finances to the community in town hall settings and in ways that the community can become aware of the issues of our city financially.
All right, we need to do few things. We need to pass a sunshine ordinance. We need to pass the facts ordinance, which is Measure V, which is a start in allowing us to look underneath our budget. Because you cannot connect dots on that right now to really understand what programs cost, what it really costs for an employee for their full compensation. It is not apparent. We do not have that information. We need to get that information. We need to understand for our community what we want and what we need. We know we want to redo our pools. We know we want Willard Pool back. We know we want a warm pool. We know we want our potholes fixed. We know we want our parks maintained finally. There is so much that we want to do, and we need to figure out how much that's going to cost. And then we need to put a plan together to how we're going to get there. It's not going to happen overnight, but there's absolutely no reason that we cannot identify what we want as a community and put a plan together on how we're going to get there. And that's what I want to do. That's what I bring to the party, and that's what we will get done under my leadership.
So there's 3 things we can do to balance our budget. One is increase taxes, which we're already one of the highest tax cities in California. So 2 is cut our budget, or 3 is grow our revenues. And I'm for growing our revenues, creating jobs, creating businesses that can pay taxes so we can spend on the services that we need. Because in reality, unless we do that, we will have to cut our services because we don't have the revenue. We've already got a projected long-term liability of $1.2 billion. So the only way to close that is, and we're going to have to probably cut some of the services. We have to look at what services we get, what value from them. We're going to have to probably raise more revenue, but I want to do that by creating new businesses and creating opportunities for new businesses to thrive, to pay basically taxes to support the city. And also I want to see more involvement with the university. There are some of the great minds. We have Nobel Prize winners that are willing to help us. So let's take some of the university assets that we have in our city.
Okay, we're going to hand it back to Chris, excuse me, and then we'll figure out something a little bit different. Okay, and then
Well, first, we need a program budget. You can read the entire city budget and not know what a single program costs. We need our budget to show this is what this program costs, and the city council can't do cost effectiveness analysis if they don't know how much something costs. Then we need to reinstate the rainy day fund to capture any unfilled salary and vacant positions, collectivize that as a rainy day fund, brought back to the city council, not left to the city manager. We need to make additional reductions in overtime. We need a whistleblower ordinance so that those city employees who are afraid to complain about waste will be free to complain and know that they won't be punished. We need to end the $225,000 extra severance package that the incumbent forced through to give the city manager, if they're fired for messing up their job horribly, they will get an extra $225,000. We need to end that. Thank you.
okay, fiscal
I
responsibility.
forced that through by an 8-to-1 vote. That's how strong I am. So anyway, what we need to do is we need to raise revenue. And we're right. We need to raise revenue. And things actually are turning around. We're seeing now more homes are being sold. We're getting a lot more transfer tax. The sales tax has finally started to ebb up. Our hotel tax is doing much better than it had ever done before. We've been in some of the worst times in the history of our city. We've been going through a real recession, depression, really. And you look at the other cities around us, and you have to say we've done much better. That's because we have been smart, and we haven't been filling vacancies, and we've been able to keep the services. We're now closed on every other Friday. We're trying to do innovative things to make sure we still have services, but at the same time, we live within our budget. Our budget is balanced, it has been balanced, and it gets a AA plus rating when you look at our bonds. So we are making progress, and we're going to get through this. And once I'm reelected, we're going to start getting more revenue. We're going to start having better and more programs so that people really want.
Now, we're going to change things a little bit because Mayor Bates has to leave exactly at 9, but we're hoping that some of the other candidates can stay a few minutes later. So I'm going to let our mayor talk for 3 minutes, and please tell us why we should elect you and give us specific things of what you're going to do. So,
Sure.
carte blanche, go on.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're
So
welcome.
anyway, thank you. I'm sorry I do have to leave. When we accept this, I had another engagement this evening, and I have to go to a coffee that I'm putting on, people are putting on for me. But anyway, I'm running to continue the work that I've been doing, you guys. I've been an elected official for a long time. I've been a county supervisor. I've been a state assemblyman for 20 years. I'm now the mayor for 10 years. So I bring a lifetime of service. My office figured out, looking at all the grants and all the things that I've been involved with, how much money I had actually brought into the city in the form of programs and in the form of buildings and things that people could enjoy. And it was over $110 million. The Ed Roberts campus would not have happened if I had not been involved and gone to Washington 3 times, got the new market tax credits. The David Brower Center, which is an environmental worldwide center for environment, people working on the issues of the environment, would not have happened had I not been here. The Berkeley Community College would not be here today if I hadn't tried to take it out of the Peralta district and fought to get it here in Berkeley. The Y Center in Berkeley would not be here. The Teen Center would not be here. The 2020 Vision would not be here. The Tom Bates Sports Facility